Oh, wait. Are we on?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't care.
That's part of the show.
I know, right? This is
There you go.
This is Sizzling, powered by Fit to Be Trained, coming to you from the Deep End Broadcasting Network studios in the lovely Virginia Beach, Virginia. And lovely it is today in the United States of America. You can find this program on deependbroadcasting.com and subscribe to this network's YouTube channel, deependbroadcasting.com. Hey, y'all. How you doing? It's me, Sizzle, and I am Karen Dougherty. You can also find me online with my website, Fit to Be Trained Online. It is great. I worked so hard on it. FitToBeTrained.com, YouTube, Fit to Be Trained, and blah, 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 blah. I think you get it. Fit to Be Trained.
Everywhere on social media.
Everywhere. It's the same.
As you say.
And I joke because I act annoyed by it only because when I'm in my house, like the coasters are Fit to Be Trained. There's a sign in my garage, Fit to Be Trained. I mean, it's everywhere. So when you own the business, I mean, you want your logo to be catchy and cool, but sometimes it really does stick in your brain a little too much. But today I was excited for today because we get to talk about CrossFit. And I picked today to do that because what we're doing in the CrossFit community is called the CrossFit Open, and it's done yearly. And we'll focus more on that. We're just going to talk about the history, a little bit of the history, the community, the hero wads, the annual events. And Steve and I met at CrossFit. And yes. We did. And it was like 10 years ago because
We were in the 8:30 class together.
I've been
or the 8 a.m. class. It might have been 8 a.m. actually.
Well, actually 4:30.
Was it the afternoon first?
In the beginning, yeah, because I was Ian was real young back then. So
Right.
I went early in the morning at 6 or 4:30. And so I met you at the 4:30 one in the very beginning of my career with Valiant CrossFit.
Right.
Prior to that went to North End CrossFit. And prior to that, I worked out in this Olympic weight training coach's backyard in Chesapeake. God, I wish I could remember his name. It's been driving me crazy. He's a famous coach. His kid went to the Olympics. This is 2008 though. Actually, I'm sorry, 2010, because I got sober in 2011 and I was still partying when I was doing CrossFit in this dude's backyard. So I'm glad I lived through that.
The only way to CrossFit, the way that I say it.
And that was in the afternoons. I got sober and I went to North End CrossFit because I moved down to the beach ocean front. North End was just putting their sign on the door. They weren't open. And I went in there and I was just getting ready to celebrate almost a year. You know, I was pretty new to sobriety. This round, I wasn't new to sobriety, but this last one was a hard one. I've got 13 years now, but this was, oh God, it was so hard that first year. But I went into the doors of the North End CrossFit. I didn't know anybody. And I go, if you guys don't hurry up and open, I'm going to relapse. And that's how I made friends with them. It broke the ice immediately. They were like, huh?
The good thing about CrossFit people is you can make them laugh pretty easily.
And they're so cool. And they're so unapologetic about who they are. And here I was somebody that was in recovery. And maybe some people would be embarrassed, you know, to be like, you got to open this sucker up or I'm going to relapse. But I wasn't.
Well, did you watch the games announcement last week?
I didn't.
So they did it from a gym, and you'll appreciate this. Maybe we should have these owners on, actually, Karen. But there's this gym in Phoenix in which they give free CrossFit to anyone who has been 48 hours clean.
What?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And that's your only requirement. So it's for like rehab people and stuff
I
like that.
love it. Well, they must be in recovery, because I'll tell you the best thing for recovery, and I'll be doing a podcast in the very near future on addiction recovery. We've
Right.
done injury recovery. We'll do addiction recovery, because that's truly, who I am. I'm a recovering addict. It's very important to me, my fitness, because I really believe, I've been going through some hard life times.
Yeah, I'll try to get these people on. I'll see if I can get them on.
Yeah. And just because you get sober, life doesn't get easy, right? But fitness helps me cope with life. And where I used to use alcohol and drugs when I couldn't cope, and granted, what does that do? That makes your problems 10 times worse. But, now I use my fitness, which I had all my life, even prior to addiction. But I've been an addict since I was a kid. So really, it ran parallel. But again, I don't want to get too much into that, because I don't want to get away from the subject of CrossFit today. And CrossFit did save my life. So that is part of it. This round of sobriety, I've been 13 years sober, and I've been in CrossFit for 14. So that ought to tell you something. 14, maybe even a little longer. Which I want to go over the history of CrossFit, where it's fairly new. It's only been around since the year 2000. And the philosophy, let me talk about who started it. A gentleman named Greg Glassman started it, but he had, nobody ever talks about Lauren Janae. Lauren Janae co-founded CrossFit with him, and she doesn't really come up very much. And last night I really got into her stuff, and because of course I would, I'm a female, right? But anyway, they were together. They were, in a relationship. They might have even been married. I don't know, but she was the business end of things, and not that she wasn't into the fitness part of things, but Greg, he wanted it to be focusing on functional fitness. So it was about physical fitness, endurance, and all, everything that, and mobility tends to be on the side, but it's a well-rounded exercise regiment, if you will. And I like it because it really challenges me, and it helps with my endorphins. It's community based. We're going to talk more into that, which I really dig. And the people that it attracts are definitely who I really, really dig. I've definitely found my tribe. And it doesn't really matter where I go. Like if I travel and go to a CrossFit gym, which I often don't, I have to admit, I usually don't. I wish I did more, and I probably will more now that I have this podcast, because I'll be more curious.
Spread the word
to go into other boxes and stuff like that. But usually when I went on vacation, I went with other family members, and I just didn't. But anyway, I always find CrossFitters welcoming, kind, fun. If you see somebody with a CrossFit shirt out in the world, you can usually say something to them, and you have that camaraderie. But I will say this, there's lots of memes online that make fun of us. It cracks me up. The bodybuilders, if you watch Pumping Iron, the latest one, not the original, because we weren't out yet, but they call us hyenas, which I took as a compliment. I was like, that's so true, because we kind of are running around. I don't think they meant it kind of derogatory, but I think in a respectful way. I think bodybuilders respect us because they don't have the endurance regimen that we have. And I say I'm including you in there, and your ex-rugby.
Well, so they have that lift-a-thon in the summertime, where it's the deadlift and the bench press. Mm-hmm. And the CrossFitters always win that because the power lifters are out of breath, because they don't have the cardio.
I didn't realize the CrossFitters always won.
Yeah. Now it's to each their own. I mean, some people just prefer strongman, not even bodybuilding, but doing the strongman thing.
Oh yeah, powerlifting is a whole separate sport. I love that.
As long as you're moving around and pushing weights and stuff like that. That's the main thing at the end of the day. But yes, CrossFit, if you can embrace it and really get in that mode of competing against yourself and yes, being in that nice positive environment, but when it gets down to business, really you're just kind of focused on what you're doing. You're not worried about what anyone else is doing. They're not worried about you because most likely they're out of breath and tired. No one has time to worry about what you're doing. So there's nothing intimidating about being in a class. You just go through the movements and get a good workout. And that's the moral of the story at the end of the day. And if you can commit yourself, I mean, as you're hard pressed to find the most in shape people, most of them are CrossFit people, I would say.
Well, it's just like it is. It's well-rounded. And I'm wearing my takeover CrossFit. I named all the CrossFit.
I'm going to do a CrossFit workout today, now that we're talking about it.
And I forgot to mention the box that I'm in right now, duh. But
I've traveled to an Atlantic City one.
Oh,
and I
fun.
stopped
Jersey.
in. Yeah, and that was cool. We did snatches and the bike, and I was really good on the bike. They're surprised how good I was on the bike, and even at my snatches. So I finished amongst the top of that afternoon class. And then I went to one in Radford, Virginia, which was fun. I did that with another buddy who was in the CrossFit. We met in town for an alumni event, and did it with the townspeople, and everyone was cool and easygoing, and it was no stress class. That was the best thing about it, just power cleans and running. And where's the other place I dropped in? Oh, Green Bay, Wisconsin. How about that? And that gym was big. I think it was Green Bay CrossFit is what it was actually called. And that place was really big. I went more or less started in the open gym. You could tell they all got along. The main thing you'll notice amongst CrossFitters, if there's one defining item of everyone in the CrossFit world, is that they have tattoos.
Oh, I didn't know you were going to say that. You're right. They do have.
So you'll
tattoos.
see a lot of tattoos when you go into a CrossFit gym, especially in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
That is that's because I lived in Minnesota, which is next door to Wisconsin, right. And my ears are gauged out because they, that area of the country started doing the piercings and the tattoos pretty early. So I'm not surprised to hear you say that, especially in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And so I got to go down to the tattoo shops because I don't have tattoos, but
I don't have a single, and I'm not joking it.
I love them though, but
they just have
not on me. And I think it's a younger crowd, and the 40s are covered in tattoos,
That was the one generation that's kind of grouped with us, but they're a little bit younger than us.
Yes.
10 years, 10 to 15 years younger.
Yes.
That is the tattoo boom.
That is the generation of the tattoos.
I think it may have worn off a little bit. I don't know.
I don't know. I
feel
right.
like some of these kids don't get tattoos nowadays.
No, you're right. You're right. I think it might have.
They're just smart asses more than anything.
It's really cool. I love the tattoo look, but I couldn't commit. So I got my ears. I did piercings when I was younger. I had the piercing on my lip, and I had my ears are just minorly gauged out. They're small. I had the piercing in my nose. I did all that, but I loved going down to the tattoo shops because I think they're so cool. But back to CrossFit, and Wisconsin is where the games were a lot. So I'm not surprised there's a little bit of serious people in there. Jersey's fun. That's where I'm from. And what's cool about CrossFit is I find them to be humble. I don't find them a lot of ego in there, except they're up against themselves. Obviously, they get up against each other, but everybody's so freaking nice.
Everyone has their weakness.
Everybody has their
obviously weakness. Where like I'm a slow runner and all of that, maybe I can row as fast as the next guy. But as far as like running goes or something like that, where I'm extremely slow, a burpee would be a good example. So I'm slower at the burpees as well. You're going to have faster people for sure. But when it gets to doing that heavy jumbo deadlift a bunch of times in a row, I'm going to crank it out a lot faster than that person. So
I know that's what I like
is-
about it, is that we all have
our weaknesses
and our strengths,
and some of us several weaknesses.
and nobody like, but what I'm saying is there's some really great athletes with
Yeah.
even within a box, and that are very humble. You don't find a lot of ego. And then when you look at the CrossFit Games, I don't see and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe, but I don't see a lot of ego. I just I really find that community to be really genuine.
It's family oriented, genuine for the most part.
Yes, I love that. And we're having a gathering because we're doing the open this week. So Takeover CrossFit again, Virginia Beach. She's got 3 locations. It's a great, great gym. And they cater to everyone. They cater to everyone. I'm in my 50s. He does a daily dose every day. That Andy Gallagher owns the gym, and Ryan. Oh, I forget Ryan's last name. Dang.
McNamara.
Thank you. That's why you have a partner in podcasting. Yes, because great guys. They cater to the children.
Yeah, fantastic guys. Yes, the
They
program
cater to us, the
Yep.
masters. That's another thing I like about CrossFit is we're masters. Although masters starts at 35. I shouldn't put that on the microphone, but in the games. But I get to go every day. I've been going.
Masters.
I know they do, like they do in golf.
I guess they do have the age groups, don't they?
Yeah, definitely. Last week I got to mention this really quick. Last week was 25.2, and you had to do pull-ups, chest to bar, and then straight up pull-ups. Well, they had, I could do jumping pull-ups,
right?
Jumping chest to bar, I couldn't make it.
Right.
Lou was my judge, and she was like, "Try harder." I'm like, "I'm trying as hard as I can. I swear."
Was that the scaled? Was the jumping?
Yeah. Very scaled for masters. And then I would have had to do pull-ups, and I couldn't use a band, so I just went back to jumping. So I mean, there's, so what if you can't do So what if you can't do every workout? There's always a modification. There's always something that you can do. I felt great. I had a great workout. I'm just not sure that I can log it, but I can log it in our intramural because we're having one within our gym, and it's not on the open for the, for the official CrossFit Open. I didn't sign up for that this year because of that. I wasn't sure if I could do all the workouts. So I want people to know that, like, so what, you can't do all the workouts like that. I guess that's where I'm talking about humble. Who cares? Just come work out. Nobody judges you. Even the best you'll be working next to the best athlete, and they're so nice and they'll help you. I don't know. I just got nothing but good things to say about CrossFit, especially my gym. Takeover is just fantastic. Valiant was fantastic. North End was fantastic. And that dude's backyard in Chesapeake was fantastic. I want to talk a little bit. So, okay, we talked about origins. Greg Glassman founded CrossFit in 2000. Mentioned his wife, they have since parted ways. And I don't even want to get into that. It doesn't even matter. And then Greg Glassman, I'm going to jump ahead. He did sell it. He sold CrossFit in 2020. Eric Rosa bought it. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because it hasn't really changed. And maybe the games have, like, maybe some athletes would say, yes, it has. But I mean, for me as a just person that goes to the community, nothing's been lost. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So Eric Rosa owns it now. He's and the CEO is Don Fall, a retired U.S. Marine and former tech executive. Fall took over in 2022 and has been focused on growing CrossFit community and supporting the affiliates worldwide. I might add, CrossFit is worldwide. So no wonder I feel like I found a tribe and I feel safe and secure finally in my life. And I've been in the fitness world for 30 some years, but I just really love this. People would say, well, why don't you train CrossFit? I actually really love being a student. And what I love the most is the barbell. And quite frankly, I'm not good enough. In 15 years, I'm okay, but I wouldn't feel comfortable teaching it. Just because you do something doesn't make you really good at it. I will say it's really fun, and I'd say I'm okay at it, but I'm not the best in the world at CrossFit, but that doesn't stop me from going. I was there this morning. So I need people to know that it's an inclusive
What'd you guys do this
environment.
morning?
Box jump over. Okay, let me start from the beginning. Isn't that funny? It was 6 a.m. I'm like, I already put it out of my mind. We rode. I did tier 3. So there's RX people. RX means that's the prescribed workout. Then there's level 2. And I was level 2 for a long, long time. I've never really been prescribed ever. I got into CrossFit in my 40s. And I don't know that even when I was in my 30s, I was that kind of athlete, but I mean, I'm okay. So a tier 2, I always was. Now I've graduated at 58 to tier 3. And I'm happy to be there, and I'm grateful. And some days I even do what's called the daily dose, which he even takes it a different level. So if you ever wanted to join Takeover, you could, because it doesn't matter who you are, because you could do the daily dose and still be involved with all the perks, which the perks are us, the people. Okay. What was the workout? 10-calorie row for me. Then I had to do 11 box jump overs, which I still can do now that my knee is fixed
On the 20-inch box.
Yes,
Nice.
For me, I can do that. And I had to do step-ups for about a year though, because I couldn't. My knee was messed up. So you can always do modifications. I did 11 box jumpers, then do cleans at the bar for 9 reps of power clean, and then 6 thrusters. Thrusters were in the workout on Saturday too, so he must have wanted to add in some thrusters. But I only had to do 6, and guess what weight I had? 35, which was too easy for the power clean, but was perfect for the thruster. I meant to get a 22-pound bar, but I got a 15, and I was like, uh-oh. I even said to my buddy, I was like, I think I went a little too light. But you know what? When we were, we had 21 minutes of it. So I got a good workout. I was fine because of those thrusters. I was fine. Nice. But I probably could have went a little heavier, but that's okay. I didn't, and it doesn't matter. I want to just keep saying that so people will come for the funness. It's so fun. Okay, so let me get back to my itinerary. Never really been able to say that word very well. CrossFit and the military first responders. I wanted to talk a little bit about that because it's a very attractive workout for the military, and it gets a lot of respect from military. And as you just heard me say, Don Fell is a retired Marine. And our first responders. And the reason why is because the functional fitness focuses and mirrors the physical demands of their jobs. So they've got to run, they've got to jump, they've got to do push-ups, they've got to be strong. And this form of exercise caters to that, which is why it's so popular with them. Teamwork and mental toughness, which align with their training. And I guess that's again why I like the CrossFit world so much, because of the teamwork and the mental toughness. And I know this is my show, but I don't like going off on my own too much, because I want to keep making it information that you learn from. But I've gone through some really tough times in the last couple of years, and because of CrossFit and my mental toughness, I was able to get through all of that. But I will say there was a short period where I couldn't get off the couch. I was dealing with depression so heavy that I could even tear up. I just was in a really bad place. And I did go ahead and email a friend of mine or a trainer at Takeover CrossFit, Josh Waltz, and hired him, and he trained me 3 times a week back then just to get me off the couch. And I'll be honest, I other than work would go back to the couch for a while. But you know what? It got me through that dark time, because what I need people to know is dark times end, just like good times. Dark times end too, though. And you got to remember that. And you just got to get through it any way you can in a healthy way. Did I relapse? No. Was I scared I could? Yes. So I made sure I reached out to another trainer, and he trained me hard. And I remember going to the doctor, and she was like, do you want any antidepressants? Maybe you should go to therapy, blah, blah, blah. And me and Josh would laugh. We were like, this is therapy. and granted, did I do those other avenues too? Yes. I don't want to ever turn our way away from antidepressants or therapy, because I'm in therapy now. But me and Josh were laughing about that. Like, CrossFit can be therapy too. It's a different kind. But it that saved me. I mean, I can't talk enough about that. So teamwork and mental toughness, which align with the training of what our police officers, our first responders, and medical, and obviously our military need, and we need it in our lives too. So I'll move on. How we, CrossFit and military first responders, discuss the hero WODs. I wrote here, I want to discuss the hero WODs. You'll hear a lot of CrossFits talk about the Murph, the DT. These WODs bring an emotional connection, especially during Memorial Day and other occasions. And what these are is honoring Murph is a Navy SEAL, Lieutenant Michael Murphy, that lost his life in the line of duty. And what we do as CrossFitters is do workout of the day, which is WOD. You'll hear the word WOD is just workout of the day. And what we do is memorialize these ladies and gentlemen, because we have female WODs too. It's male dominant, but it's not by any means male dominant. What am I trying to say? Like, it's some of the WODs are male dominant, but I think they're coming out with a lot more. Look at Fran. Fran's one of the most popular WODs of all time. So there's plenty of female ones too, but that doesn't make them easier. It's kind of funny how the gender in CrossFit is it's kind of a non-gender sport. It's hard. It doesn't matter, but it's not too hard for you to try. We have local throwdowns and charity events hosted by boxes all the time, like Takeover. We do that step up one that me and you did, the partner.
Yep.
For
Yep.
Sarah. And what am I thinking?
You're not thinking of the best selling point for CrossFit. The fact that it doesn't take a lot of time to get a workout in. How about that?
Well, there's that. Like,
yeah.
that we'll come off of that segment. And why is it so? What is so likable for you, Steve? Why do you like it personally? You say because of the short workouts. Why do you suspect you like a short workout? You can wrap your mind around it.
Just because you can get it in. You're not sitting there. Many times when you're in the gym, and this is me. I'm actually trying to move faster, like through the weight stations and stuff.
Right.
Like, I'm talking about like a regular Joe Schmo gym, like a Gold's Gym or One Life Fitness or something like that. So I'll actually be trying to move fast, and then a lot of the things that I'm trying to do, I can't, because I'm literally sitting up waiting for somebody sitting there looking at their phone.
Oh, you mean like for the circuit training, like rather than using equipment and machines. Right. You like CrossFit because it's simple and easy to get to. The
circuit training aspect's a big one. Just station to station, keep going, and you can knock out your workout in 20 to 30 minutes, get a good stretch in, get a little extra ab cash out in or whatever. And I think you accomplish so much more in that hour than a lot of people do in 2 hours in the gym.
Oh,
because people still will say, I need to go to the gym. be back in a couple of hours. You shouldn't have to do that. But you see it all the time, especially on social media and stuff like that.
Well, I will say this. When I did do that bodybuilding show, my coach would say to me, get in and out of there as fast as you can. So they're really not, you're not, for what my training was for, you know, like say a power lifter, he has so much wait time in between sets. He and she, I keep saying he, and bodybuilders do too. But she didn't want any dilly-dallying. But you're right. If you get in a crowded gym, you're waiting for the leg press, you know, and maybe that one client is going to do 3 reps and is kind of hogging it and not sharing it with you. It is hard. I mean, not 3 reps. I'm sorry. 3 to 4 sets is what we do in bodybuilding. And yeah, if they're not going to share, yeah, that's hard. Because of my brain, the ADD and the CrossFit of moving from one exercise to the next, I love that. It brings me peace in a weird way. And I get to write my workout down. And it's only like you said, it's short. Like this morning's was a 21-minute workout. And don't you think in CrossFit, that's a long time? You're like, uh-oh. This is going to be 21 minutes is a long time when you get along, because most CrossFits are 12, you know, I like the shorter reps. It's just happiness to my brain and my body after it's done. I always say it's fun when it's done because it can be a challenge, but it makes my regular life easier too. Like I literally had to carry around this heavy wheelchair for my son. It was so heavy because it was cheaper. I'm sure they make them lighter, but you're going to spend a fortune on it, right? That thing was so heavy. I was like, how do regular people carry? Like, what if I was a mom that wasn't in as good shape as I was in? I just thought of.
No, seriously.
I'm not kidding. Like, thank God.
I've lived this with my mother.
Thank God I was able to, you know, he's on the other side of that now. And I thought, you know, because anything that's hard is temporary too, right? And I mean, I didn't mean to say that. I knew this was temporary. So I really hoofed it out. But I thought, I mean, I would have to be in shape to take care of him if he was wheelchair bound. Or
my mom was wheelchair bound, and the only way in or out of her house was down the garage steps, 4 steps.
And you know, like,
and she would be afraid, and I was always the one who had to wheel her up and down it.
Thank God she had you, right? I mean,
that is the honest truth at that moment in time. Yes,
you know, that is
good.
True.
I was doing everything possibly good in the CrossFit world.
Yeah, because you really are like, yes, it makes you ready for regular life and excess regular life, which goes back to why first responders, police officers, and military do that kind of working out. When we talk about it, I just don't like to scare people away, you know, because people are like, oh, that's so hard. Yes, it's challenging, but you can make it as easy as you want. Like, I didn't have to do a box jump over. I could have done a step up on a little weight if I wanted to, like on 6 inches. Nobody judges. It's so fantastic. That's why I kind of hesitate. I used to hesitate about talking about it with my age group and my friend. Well, why do you look so good? And you know, I was scared that they would be like, oh, I can't do that. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Anybody can do it. And I shouldn't say just anybody, but yes, because I'm grateful for what I am capable of doing. Not everybody can do everything, but I just don't want to shy people away from it, thinking that it's only for the top tier athletes. It's fine. Anybody can do it. But I want to also I did get to talk about how it helped my mental health. I didn't even know I was going to go into that. I teared up. I got a little emotional there. But I want to talk about the friendships I've built. What about you? Me and you are friends because of that place.
Oh, yes, yes.
The friendships that I have built in those rooms are undeniable. And it's not just because I'm in the industry. Like do you know, a lot of my peers in there didn't even really know that I was, when I tell them a lot of them know now that I'm a fitness and Pilates trainer, but we don't talk about work in there. We don't talk about, it's kind of self-focused with your friends being self-focused. And I think that's why you build such good friendships. Do you know what I'm saying? And then we socialize together and you get to know things about their lives. But when we're actually in there, it's really an escape. At least it is for me. Like, very rarely do I talk about anything other than what's happening inside that room. And that's why I always joke around about, oh, I don't want to go back to the real world. It's kind of like a little escape in there, which would make sense as a recovering addict, because what are most addicts trying to do? Escape. Have an empty brain, slow their brain down. I mean, I can give you a million reasons why addiction takes over, but and I can give you a million reasons why that room works for me, because my brain slows down. I don't think about anything else except my friends' well-being, my well-being, what's on the board, where my equipment's at, and that's it. And so you build really lasting friendships, oddly enough, because then we tend to get together for gatherings. Like this Saturday, we have a party because Andy's been open 15 years now. Andy and Ryan. I don't mean to just focus on Andy. Andy and Ryan have been open 15 years now, and we're celebrating that after we're done the last open workout. The open, I feel like I have something in my little notes here. I almost took too many notes. I apologize, because sometimes if it's too many, it gets yeah, I can't. I thought I had it looked like why the open started. I don't even know why. I'd like to know why myself, why they started the open for all of us, just for fun, and the open is where we do 3 workouts, and the whole CrossFit community does the same workout. And it gets announced on Thursdays, and we do it for 3 weeks in a row. And we put our scores down, and you get to see where you are in your giant community, which now is worldwide. So I wanted to do it this year. I really did. And just because of time constraints, I didn't sign up. And now I'm glad I didn't. I signed up with my box, but I didn't sign up globally. And I couldn't, I don't think that they had a way that I could have logged last week's workout anyway. So now I'm realizing that it's best that I didn't sign up. But that's why you hear all of the CrossFitters talking about the open. That's something that's done every year. And then there's the CrossFit Games that are done every year. And a lot of us follow certain athletes. It's fun. It's just plain fun. And I feel like I'm jumping all over the place, and then I'm losing my spot. So with that, I'll start heading for closing, and I'm just going to look at my notes, like to recap the history, the hero wads, the annual events, the community spirit. I did it. Encourage the listeners to try CrossFit or attend an event. I did it. And let's share how the listeners can connect with me and Steve. So Steve is Deep End Broadcasting.
Yes.
This is where I come and do my podcast with my pal Steve that we met at the CrossFit gym. We've already talked about that.
In the lovely Virginia Beach.
In the lovely Virginia Beach in the United States of America. I remember I hated doing that. Like, it was funny because I was uploading all our podcasts up on which is good. I'm glad we're talking about it.
It's called the Standard ID, which every program should have, which basically is the title, the author, and where you're coming from.
And I got really sloppy with that because I just uploaded 11 of our episodes up to
Spotify and Apple now, right?
And Apple, yes, we're official.
So you can get our audio there if you search on that if you search the Sizzle Lean show,
The Sizzle Lean show. And
if you just put it Sizzle Lean, she popped right up.
I think that I'm glad that we waited this long, because now I know to make sure that we got to call out people and tag them and all that good stuff. I learned a lot in the last 11 episodes. So this one, you all can connect with us here on YouTube, on Apple, on Spotify under the Sizzling Show. And then obviously hit up our websites if you need us, our social media if you need us for anything. And I want to thank you, Steve, very much for putting this together today, and have a great week.
All right. Have a good week, everybody. This is the Deep End Broadcasting Network. All our content can be found on the YouTube channel, Deep End Broadcasting.